Victor Hedman reaches the top of the Lightning assist chart as the Bolts split a back-to-back against Nashville on the road and Toronto at home. How does this set them up for the rest of December?
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Josh Sperber here, welcoming you into Locked On Lightning and thanking all of you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if your team is the Tampa Bay Lightning, then this is the show for you. This show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time is a great way to get tickets to live games, which the Lightning had two of over this past holiday weekend. A 3-2 overtime win against the Nashville Predators, shutting out Steven Stamkos in the season series against the Lightning's former star, and then a 5-3 loss that did feature a pretty great comeback between the Lightning and the Maple Leafs when the Bolts returned home. So we're going to start quickly going over that Nashville game, which the Lightning allowed Roman Josi to score 2 goals. Brandon Hagel scored his 100th career goal to give the Lightning a 2-1 lead in the second period. Anthony Cirelli had temporarily restarted a goal streak as he did not score against Toronto, and Brayden Point with the game-winning goal in overtime on the assist from Nikita Kucherov. Nikita Kucherov did play the third period in overtime after leaving in the second period due to injury, but he did not play against Toronto. That's something that we're going to discuss a little bit later, but Brayden Point is someone that definitely stepped up in Kucherov's absence, not just against the Predators, but against the Leafs as well. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have been doing a good job of spreading the puck around. Right now, there are 6 Lightning players with 20 or more points so far this season through 23 games played. That's more than any other team in the NHL right now. And the Lightning certainly spread the wealth. But a lot of it is concentrated in their top 5. You look at those top 6 guys. Kucherov has 34, Hagel second with 29, Cirelli joining Hagel on that second line, Victor Hedman and Brayden Point also over 20. And Hedman the only defender on that list. And it just goes, and Nick Paul honestly could have been on that if he hasn't missed the better part of the last half of November. I mean, he's missed the last week plus, has Paul, and he might be on that list if he was here as well. But it's something you got to respect the job the Lightning did, especially with Johansson in the net against Nashville, as Point continues to lead the league in power play goals, game-winning goals. I mean, he has just been a guy that the Lightning could count on whenever they needed him. And it seems like whenever the Lightning need a goal, it's either Point or Kucherov. And lately, it's been a whole lot of Brayden Point covering that. Lightning are facing the San Jose Sharks at home beginning on Thursday, and Point might be called upon to do a lot in that. The Lightning still third in the league despite the loss to Toronto and after the win against Nashville. It is an echo of the first game the Lightning played against the Predators at home back in October, a 3-2 overtime victory that one resulted in. So, yeah, but you liked a lot to see what the Lightning did against the Nashville Predators. Getting a power play goal is big. They had the best power play rate in November, getting 32%, getting a goal on 32% of their power play opportunities. And that was the best in the NHL. And that's something that didn't translate as well into Toronto. They did still get a power play goal there, but it's still the Lightning addressing an issue that has been plaguing them a little bit this season, something that they really have been trying to fix. And it's good to see that PowerPoint is starting to get back into the form that, you expected. 1 for 4 on power plays and in Nashville, and 1 for 3 on power plays at home against Toronto. So 2 for 7 in the back-to-back, I mean, that's pretty good. Taking advantage. And also, I really like to see the Lightning against really both teams. 2 power plays only for Nashville and 1 for Toronto. That was it. You love to see the Lightning limiting those chances on penalties. And against Toronto, they did that, just 1 penalty, which did not end up really in all that much at all for Toronto. This was a game that the Lightning really seemed to control for the beginning of the game. Once the Leafs scored their first goal, they were just kind of off to the races. And until the late minute of that third period, when the Lightning went on that 3-goal barrage, it really seemed like Toronto was in control. Through the first 2 periods, the Lightning still outshot the Maple Leafs. The Lightning had their chances. This was even a game that John Cooper said that the Lightning didn't do all that much wrong against Toronto. They had their shots, but so did Toronto, and the Leafs just capitalized on more of them.
I think we gave ourselves a chance really the whole game. I didn't think we played poorly. We had ample chances to score, and we didn't. Tip your hat, their goalie played pretty well tonight. They went in for us in the third, but they. I can't sit here and look and say, "Oh, we were down 4-0 going into the third." This game was like the ice was tilted the whole night. I really don't feel like that's how the game was played. So, it's tough when we had our looks and couldn't score, and the guy had their looks and scored, and sometimes it happens. It's tough. It was against us today.
Obviously, a tough loss. The Maple Leafs maintain their grip on the top of the Atlantic Division. Despite the fact that they are 1 point behind Florida, they have 2 games in hand against the Panthers, and the Leafs getting their 8th win in their last 10 games. Lightning just ran into a really good team, getting their captain back, getting Austin Matthews back, but you really can only be disappointed in the result. The Lightning certainly played well enough for the most part to get a point in that game, even without their leading scorer in Nikita Kucherov, and with 2 key forwards in their rotation in Nick Paul and Mitchell Chaffee. And Gage Gonzalez, Connor Sheary both played really well in their call-ups, and in Gonzalez's case, continued call-ups, as Sheary has already been sent down, back down to Syracuse, perhaps to get some more minutes. Still a chance he gets called up before Thursday once the status on Nikita Kucherov becomes a little bit more clear. But within the first 2 minutes of Sheary's first NHL game since October, he narrowly missed putting one in. Just a really great save by Wall in close, as Sheary almost tucked in the first goal of the game inside the first 2 minutes. Until the Leafs' goal, they didn't have a shot, and that goal came at 12:47 left in the first. A couple chances that the Bolts just barely missed on the power play early in the game, really until that third period late, when the Leafs just took their foot off the gas until that desperation Hail Mary of an empty netter. The Lightning, were really close to getting points in that game. And, you can't be too upset at the loss, only that it is to a top divisional guy. But the Lightning have 2 more chances to try and even the season series against Toronto and try and climb up in that Atlantic Division. But I think this game has to be viewed as somewhat as a success. As some of the guys have said throughout the season, and in most cases, I agree that there are no moral victories in the NHL. But I think in this particular case, Kucherov was one of the many players considered by John Cooper to be a game time decision. And it hurts to have a game time decision on your most prolific scorer and the guy who leads your team in points, one of the best offensive players already in the history of the franchise. I mean, Kucherov is that important to this Lightning team, and it's got to be a crushing blow to lose him that close to game time. And it's a game that, if he were in, might have been different. If the Lightning had Paul or Chaffee in, things might have been different again. Just a couple of injuries, I just really soured this game and hurt the Lightning's chances. But there's still plenty of time to bounce back from this. I think the Lightning have a nice game that they should be able to win at home against San Jose coming up on Thursday before a tough road trip in a pretty well spaced out month of December. But, you can't be upset with how the Lightning played, at least in the third period of the Leafs, but definitely some missed opportunities earlier on. But one opportunity that was not missed, Victor Hedman passed Martin St. Louis to become the first Lightning player to reach 589 career assists. So congrats to the captain on becoming the Lightning's all-time assist leader, which we'll discuss in our next segment. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I've used Game Time to buy tickets before, and I really like that you can get a 3D model of the stadium that looks real. I mean, you can really see what seats you are purchasing, whether it's for a game or a concert or anything. Game Time does a really good job of showing you what you're getting, and also getting you a darn good price. Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. And Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You get the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but just make sure to create an account on the Game Time app and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL, for $20 off. Make sure to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time and download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. And you can get tickets for the best events, or you can bet on the best events on America's #1 sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NHL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NHL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Back here on Locked On Lightning, Josh Sperber with you, talking about a big milestone in what has been a season of milestones already. We've had Nikita Kucherov's 900th career point, Brandon Hagel's 100th career goal, Zemgus Girgensons' 100th career assist, Anthony Cirelli's 100th career goal. We can keep going, but this might be even bigger than Andrei Vasilevsky's 300th career win, becoming the fastest to ever do it. Victor Hedman passed Martin St. Louis a couple weeks after passing Steven Stamkos, but St. Louis held the title of most Lightning assists. He needs 10 more to become the first Lightning player ever to reach 600 career assists in his Lightning career. And Hedman, as always, very humble, but of course, very appreciative of his teammates for helping him reach this incredible milestone for the Lightning legend.
Nothing really obviously didn't expect going into this league to have a record like that, but I'd enjoy it for a few weeks or months before Coach passes me. So, hope I can keep hitting him the puck at the same time. But no, joking aside, to have a milestone like that is pretty huge. But it's all the game, obviously, as well.
Victor Hedman never takes lightly the legacy that he leaves as someone who has played his whole career with the Lightning. That does not appear that it's going to change anytime soon. But it's both he and John Cooper said that it's a temporary record, and it might well just be, which, doesn't have anything to do with Victor Hedman. I don't want to be saying anything negative about Hedman, but the fact is Nikita Kucherov has 575 career assists all with the Lightning, currently 15 behind Victor Hedman. Now, Kucherov might not pass him for good this season. It might be kind of flip-flopping for the next little while, but I think it's pretty much confirmed that, Hedman knows it's not going to be his record for long, but it's something that he can certainly enjoy. And honestly, it's a good excuse for us Lightning fans to just reflect on the legendary career of Victor Hedman. I mean, yeah, he's breaking Bolt's records left and right, and I'm sure there's going to be more um, as the season goes on and as his career goes on. Hedman is not. I mean, he's over 30, yes, but 33 years old. He's still got plenty left. So I don't think this is going to be the last Lightning record that he breaks, but this one might not be his at the end of his career. And that, he understands that. And it's funny that both he and Cooper were so quick to say that. But John Cooper was also very quick to compliment Victor Hedman on his status and his just legendary career with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it's not every day that you have a guy who is likely to go down as a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's one of the best defenders in the NHL since he's come into the league. And it's good that he really understands the importance of these franchise records, because sometimes you just kind of shrug them off, especially after a loss like this. I mean, Victor Hedman could have very easily been, doesn't matter because we lost the game. He acknowledged that the Lightning did lose, and it's still a team game, and that would have been more desirable an accolade for him is just to get the win. But he still just showed a lot of class and continues to embrace his role as a leader and as a Lightning legend. But I don't think that it's going to be too long. I think by the end of the season, in 2025, likely Nikita Kucherov will pass Victor Hedman probably by the All-Star break, and it's something that like I said, could flip flop. But it's just another Lightning milestone to take note of as the season continues. And Hedman also has 8 points over his last 10 games. 8 assists over his last 10 games with 2 goals as well. So a point a game over the last 10 for Hedman too. And it really seems like he just elevates his game. And, we were talking about players to step up during the Lightning season. And, I never thought that I'd have to talk about Hedman as a guy who's stepping up, because he just continues to play at such a high level. But I mean, he still has, he has filled the captain's shoes beyond admirably. And he's, played on both sides of the puck. He can help out on offense. He can crush guys on defense, and he can make some important stops. And whenever he's called upon, he has done that. And that is shown in his leadership ability, both on and off the ice over the course of this season. And I think just, even though that this record might be temporary, it is still something memorable and something that is certainly legendary about Hedman's season and about how people are going to look on his tenure as captain. I mean, regardless of what happens this year or the next, Hedman is going to end up going down as one of the best players to ever put on a Tampa Bay Lightning uniform, regardless of how many Lightning records he holds or how many are broken by Nikita Kucherov or whoever else over the course of this season and their Lightning careers. But it's still just worth a tip of the cap to Victor Hedman. And just, it's important, I think, when you see greatness, when you see a legendary player in action like Victor Hedman, it's just, good to acknowledge that he plays for your team. And you got to see one of the greats, and he got to help the Lightning to unparalleled franchise success. The 2 Stanley Cups they wouldn't have won without Victor Hedman, and one of the most successful teams since they came into the league. And Hedman has played a big role in that, with his passing, with his defense, with his leadership. And, I can only congratulate him and hope that he continues to do that as he continues his illustrious career with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And someone that we talked about as a guy who might break some of Victor Hedman's records, Nikita Kucherov, missed his first game of the season with an undisclosed injury after leaving in the second period, but eventually returning a day prior against Nashville. How concerning could this Nikita Kucherov injury be if it persists? Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You can just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, and you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. It's the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including the great state of Florida. Prize Picks, the best way to get real money sports action. So join over 10 million users and sign up today. If you sign up today, you'll get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, Prize Picks discount select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app right now. Use the code LOCKEDNHL. LOCKEDONNHL, Locked On NHL, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Last segment, maybe not the best for last, but it could be, depending on how you look at it. Nikita Kucherov, a very missed player in that game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. His first missed game of the season. Kucherov leads the Lightning in goals scored with 12. Second on the Lightning team with goal scores with 12. Leads the team in assists with 22 and points with 34. 3 game-winning goals, a plus-minus of 5, and 1 power play goal for Kucherov as well, coming off of a Art Ross Trophy winning season. Kucherov has been listed in the running for both the Art Ross and Hart Trophy and many others, but him missing his first game against a divisional opponent was a tough break for the Lightning as they lost 5-3 to Toronto. Now, I'm going to start, before we really get into this, there is a potentially good sign. The Tampa Bay Lightning did recall Connor Sheary to AHL. He was reassigned earlier on Sunday. But so that hopefully means that Nikita Kucherov is going to be good to go. It could mean that since the Crunch still have some games and practices coming up, it could just mean they just want to get the kid some extra playing time, which is also a good thing. Connor Sheary is certainly a guy that the Lightning are trying to develop, and it is a possibility that he plays in Wednesday's home game against Laval the day before he goes to San Jose. But with that schedule timing, it makes me think that Nikita Kucherov is going to be healthy for Thursday's game against San Jose. Remember, he did come and return after the injury, so I think it was just a precaution on just on day 2 of a back-to-back. Kucherov being a crucial player. It stinks to do it against a key opponent, but if that's the case, honestly, I get it. You'd rather sacrifice one game per se than risk aggravating the injury even more. So I think just being cautious, the Lightning were smart in keeping Nikita Kucherov on the bench against the Maple Leafs. But there are certainly players, I think, for the Lightning that can step up and have stepped up both in his absence and even while he's been on the ice. In his absence, the Lightning are certainly, I think, looking to some of the younger guys like Gage Gonzalez, guys like Connor Sheary, who are getting a chance to play more with Nikita Kucherov on the bench. And I think Gonzalez and Sheary are both guys that have done well with the NHL action that is afforded them. The problem is the Lightning have enough depth that it's just going to push them back down to Syracuse when everybody's healthy. So it's good to know that the Lightning do have some solid options in the minor leagues. Jaden Dureau is another minor league player that looks like he's come along pretty well. And Nico Hootenin as well is another guy that we might see in a Lightning uniform this season. But I think the Lightning they're using their farm system when needed and sticking to the guys that have more NHL experience for the most of the season. But if Nikita Kucherov's injury concern gets worse, we certainly hope it doesn't. But if he's out for an extended period of time, then the guys that I'm really looking to are going to be Braden Point and Brandon Hagel, even though they don't play right wing. I mean, you look at all the other the forwards for the right wing side is really dominated in terms of the stats by Nikita Kucherov. Chafee has done a solid job at the right wing with 9 points in 20 games, but Isimont has had a couple goals in the last two, but at that particular position, obviously you're not going to replace Nikita Kucherov, and I don't think that's something that the Lightning think they can do. You can't replace a player like that, plain and simple. He's just talented. He's just one of the best players in the NHL. It's just difficult to even fathom. But the Lightning do have guys like Braden Point and Brandon Hagel who have really stepped up. Point has played 3 fewer games than Kucherov and has 4 more goals than Kucherov and more goals than anyone else on this Lightning team. Part of that is just Point doing what he does best. He's a shooter. But he is still someone that has really stepped up. Hagel is someone that has stayed at left wing, but maybe they could move him on the other side, put him on that first line with Kucherov out of there. Hagel's been incredible this season. Other than Kucherov, he may be the best player on the Lightning team this entire season. He and Cirelli have just really stepped up from that second line and played like first-line guys. And but I mean, really the point I'm making is that there are plenty of players in-house for the Tampa Bay Lightning that, maybe just giving them more minutes and a more expanded role, if Kucherov is forced to miss some games, then that could help. And Connor Geekie is obviously, going to be first on the lips of many people when it comes to guys that you want to step up. I mean, we've talked about this so much this season. You don't make a trade like that for Geekie, giving up a player like Mikhail Sergachev. Yes, Moser was key in that trade to just replace Sergachev on that first line defense, but they wouldn't have made that trade without Connor Geekie. You're not doing a straight up deal, Sergachev for JJ Moser. They took a chance on a couple of young players because they believe that their skills and their abilities, even as budding leaders, these are guys that the Lightning might rely on to continue carrying the proud tradition of this Lightning franchise. And Connor Geekie is someone that has played right wing. He's a center primarily, but he's someone that can move up to that right wing spot. The Lightning have been going 11 forwards and 7 defenders. They've done that for the last 5 games with their rash of injuries that they've unfortunately suffered over the last little while. But if they're going to want to get it more conventional, even if they're going to want to put just someone new on that first line to try and mix things up, honestly, if I'm John Cooper, I'd try Connor Geekie on the first line at right wing if Kucherov has to miss another game. You're trying to accelerate the guy's development, throw him to the Wolves, throw him on a line with 2 of the best offensive players in the NHL right now. Give him a chance to dish some goals to Point and get some crisp passes from Gensel, make some quick moves off the faceoff. I mean, you called him up to the NHL. One thing that I was concerned about with Connor Geekie at the beginning of the year is if the Lightning were going to have to bring him up to the NHL too quickly. He showed that he is ready to play in an NHL game. Why not throw him into the fire and put him on that first line? I mean, this is a high-profile prospect. This was a former first-round pick just 2 years ago. This is someone that I think the Lightning should give a chance on that first line. And he plays the position that they need. So we certainly want to see Kucherov come back on Thursday. But if he's not, I wouldn't be surprised if Connor Geekie got his first chance on the first line at home against San Jose. But hopefully that's not something we have to worry about, as we hope Nikita Kucherov gets well soon and can get back on the ice for the Bolts. And that is going to do it for today's Locked On Lightning. Josh Sperber here, thanking all of you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen today. Now for your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge on your league mates with daily tips from Steele and Flynn. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Once again, Josh Sperber signing off. Wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure to give us a like, follow, a subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get them, we've got them. So make sure to give us a follow and show your support, because we do this show for you guys, the fans. Thank you again for tuning in. Hope you guys had a great holiday weekend, and hopefully the Bolts can start off December on the right foot.